Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Abel, alias Senator. I pretty much would be engaging you guys with a few things about what I believe men, or I should say guys or boys of nowadays should take into consideration when it comes to you having a relationship, either dating or having a serious relationship leading towards marriage. Because in recent day and age and in this particular century that we are in, a lot is happening. And it kind of, sometimes when I think about it, I feel like there is a little bit of information out there for guys like myself or men like myself to better understand how relationships should work or how men need to get themselves ready before marriage. So the first things I definitely will be talking about. So many different things that we men are open to, or let me say we get exposed to, that in the long run kind of affects our relationship, kind of affects our emotional mindset, and kind of affects the way at which we think sometimes. And I feel like vice versa, it happens for the women or the ladies, or I should say the girls as well too, which kind of hinders the perfection we're trying to get out from relationships. And specifically today, I would be speaking about men who are in a relationship going to marriage. I'm not talking about those who are still in the world or are still in the streets of Lagos, streets of wherever you want to be, the Z's or wherever Z's you are. But the first thing I want to speak about is, if you are a guy or a man who is trying to get into a relationship, the first things first, which I can't re-emphasize this enough, is communication. And the reason why I say communication is, sometimes we see communication as, I'm just speaking to you, hey, how you doing, how's everything going, and all that. That is an aspect of communication. It's not communication itself. The understanding of what this person says and the understanding of what I say to you, that is what communication is pretty much all about from my own understanding. And it is a very, very key part of relationship. And kind of strikes me that sometimes the main issue in so many relationships right now, in so many marriages, there are two different people, and that's why they're called partners. Two different people. And if we're using an example of partner where you say, okay, you have a business, just an example, you have a business, I'm trying to partner up with you. You have two different line ideas or whatever it is. You have a common goal which has brought you guys up together to be partners. Still does not mean that you don't have your own special or individual lives. You do, but you just have something in common that you're doing together. But when we bring that into a marriage or relationship, it means that you people are two different individuals, but you have a common goal to raise together, to share your goals, to share your dreams, to have beautiful kids together, and to live the rest of your lives together. That is the common goal, and that is the partnership which has brought you guys together. And communication in that aspect is constantly reminding yourself of what are our goals. What is the main reason why we are together as partners? What does this do to us? How can we get there? And communication is just about talking. You have to listen and make sure the other person understands that you are following. That is the essential of communication. That is the first thing I want to talk about, communication. The second part I want to speak about is quality time. Majority of we guys, we understand that, okay, before you got into your relationship or before you got into marriage, you have a life of your own, which you pretty much go out with your guys, go and do your own daily things. Obviously, the lady has her own personal life too. However she might be, either she's the stay-home type or she's the outgoing type. Every single one of you guys have your own personal lives before coming together. But the quality time there is having to spend time together for the sole purpose of you guys reaching that same goal. You would understand that every single thing I talk about still leads to communication. When you share this quality time together, that is where you build more trust, you build more affection, you speak more about things you didn't know about, you share some insight about how things could be done better. And this saying of two heads are better than one is pretty much for the saying of, I can see things better on this side, you can see things better on this side. Why not just bring it all together and make it one? That is the sole purpose of partnership. In the space of you try to want to segregate what you can do together and what you cannot do together, that is where problems start. And for men, I believe you should always have quality time with your spouse, with your girlfriend, or however the case might be. Expressing your feelings, getting used to expressing your feelings, getting used to speaking about how your day went, getting used to speaking about everything that happens with you would get you to an emotional state that feels very healthy, that you would feel easy, you would feel like you're not in bondage to communicate your ideas. I feel like majority of women these days, the fact that we have been used to being all macho man and all that with our friends, which we have done for so many years, we kind of find it very hard when we come into a marriage or relationship and it's just a year and you're expecting me that all I've been for the past 10, 15 years has to change in one day, which is one of the reasons why the communication with men and women is check out so many things in who you want to date or who you want to marry, because you cannot change anybody if they're not willing to change themselves. And I don't think people change, I feel people grow. So when there's some certain things that they personally feel like, okay, due to some reasons I can outgrow this thing, or due to some reasons I feel like this could be done in this better way, or some things or some event in the environment makes them to outgrow that particular thing, then they change. Not like they change from iPad to iPhone. Those are growths. Those kind of changes are growths. But when you talk about someone moving from iPhone to Android, that is an actual change, which in most cases does not really happen when it comes to we humans. We don't just out of the blue just change from iPad. There must be a reason behind it. And within that reason that's behind it is the growth process of we having to move into that particular stage. The third part I want to speak about is the emotional intimacy. The emotional intimacy is pretty much just an important part, which I feel like what majority of men are known about. The emotional intimacy is pretty much you just getting that physical touch. To some people, this could be their love language of they love physical touch, or the love of quality time, which has already been spoken about. And I feel like majority of this is pretty much relating to love languages, and I will get back to that in a little bit. So the intimacy is pretty much just sharing your thoughts with the other party, either be the guy or the girl. Share your thoughts, share your emotions, share how you feel to them. Let them know that you're vulnerable, that you really do love them, and you're willing to share as much as possible to make that relationship work. So in cases and in situations where you all of a sudden feel some type of way, they would not feel like your emotions are not, what's the word I'm looking for? Are not genuine, because you're used to just stocking up yourself and forming like you are the macho man all the time. And the moment you show your emotions, are like, well, this is new, like something is wrong somewhere, like what is happening? But when you make it a habit of something is not right, you speak to the other person, they trust you that when something is wrong with you, you would always communicate. So they don't start feeling like you have a secret or there's something in your mind that you're not trying to pour out. I know it comes with time. Speaking from the guy's aspect, speaking from the man's aspect, you have been so used to being with your guys. Wait till they happen they go on party. And to guys, even we guys, there's some things we don't speak to each other because you feel like if this person is going to use this thing against me, or if it's not going to be in a way of my guys will be like, you do it. They don't pretty much sometimes want to speak about it. So they hoard some information to the same as we guys. We hoard some information to ourselves, and we speak about some information we feel like we should know just to get the whole groove going and all of that. But when it comes to your spouse, you cannot do that. Even though you guys are trying to be the best friends possible to each other, you cannot try and hoard information. It would haunt you for the rest of that relationship. The fourth part I want to speak about is shared goals, and I think that still relates to the first part I mentioned, which is the communication. When you have a shared goal of saying, okay, these are the things we want to achieve before the end of year 2024, 2023, then you have shared goals and you both work in line of that goal. So if someone is trying to deviate, I can pull back and say, hey, this is not the plan we had. this is how we're supposed to work these things, and this is how things are supposed to go. And kind of help us to get to that goal faster, because as I'm pulling to get to that goal, you're pulling to get to the goal, and we get there faster. In those goals, we kind of motivate the both parties to feel the love that is in between the both of them. And I think it would kind of build trust as well, to knowing that they are both working to the same goal. You get to your goal faster when you have somebody who you can trust, somebody who you communicate with, somebody who you spend quality time with, somebody who you have that emotional intimacy with. It makes things a whole lot easier. It makes things faster. The fifth one is the flexibility. And being flexible in a relationship is very, very vital. And I say very vital because when you have two different people coming from two different backgrounds, you have whatever your parents have instilled in you. And aside from what your parents have instilled in you, you have a certain environment which you are coming from. Your environment and your parents are those that instill whatever it is that you carry along, that you move forward with. I have my own that I'm carrying along as well too. And when it gets to the point where we don't have the same environmental backgrounds, our parents are different like-minded people, we would definitely have some difficulties coming together to be one. And what we do at this particular time is we become very, very flexible. What works for you? Oh, this doesn't work for me, but let's meet in the middle. This is what it's gonna be. And being flexible comes with a lot of compromise. I can tell you this 1,000 times. Being flexible comes with you having or being able to have a compromise. And when you have a compromise, you're able to move on faster. But when you're still struggling with, oh no, it's my own family people that is right, your family people is not right, there would always be problem in that relationship. One understanding is when you have a particular argument, sometimes it's just something as little as, if I go this way, I'm going to get here. Like, you cannot reach there. It is this way that I know that if you go this way, you will get there. I just believe that if we're able to come to a compromise and we understand that there are so many ways to get to a particular goal, and the more you're able to know that at some certain situations, you just have to pause and own up to yourself and say, hey, what I'm doing is probably not the right thing to do, or think of possible ways of how this could be done, or how I could avert the possibility of an argument happening. And that way you make a compromise to yourself of not making that issue happen, or make a compromise with the other person of, okay, let's do it this way. The other part of it is always show appreciation. Appreciation, a little bit of thank you, a little bit of sorry would go a long way to your partner or to whoever it is you're speaking to. When you show appreciation, you let the person know that they're being seen. And the majority of women in general, we go through some certain phases in our life where we feel like we're not seen, because all we do is hunt. All we do is protect. All we do is provide. And in some certain spaces, we seek that our spouses or our partners or our girlfriend or boyfriend, however it might be, is able to at least make a little effort to just show that I see what you do, I appreciate what you do, and to see you for who you are sometimes and be like, okay, he's gone through a whole lot, let me just cut him some slack. And not the time where he's probably had the most stressful days, when you now want to start making things in some certain ways, and that does not sit well with majority of me, because I feel like I've been out the whole day trying to provide for the family, and now I've come back home and you never let me rest again. Like, what exactly do you want from me, this woman? So it's you just having that emotional intelligence to be able to say, okay, let me just leave this man for this amount of time for so reasons, and this is the right time to speak to him. And you know the times to kind of calm him down, and the times that you want to make jokes about some certain things. So you just know what fits your boat, what rocks your boat. We're all unique individuals, and one size doesn't fit all when it comes to this particular conversation. Always show appreciation, no matter how small it is. Buying a man as small as maybe a chocolate or an ice cream at a time where he has been in the sun for a long time, he can you can be the best person to him throughout. You've made this whole day. So a little gesture just to show that you really appreciate the person or you feel what they're going through would definitely go a long way. And for you spouses, it's not just all about cooking and taking care of the house. We know that it's still part of you providing and you making sure that the house is in good shape, but still make some little bit of effort to say, I see you, I appreciate you, and I support you. All those little things definitely go a long way. Lastly, I want to speak about seeking help. Seek help. When you are in some certain situations, or even if you're not in any situation, always try to figure out ways to make things better. If you are been used to a certain way of doing some things that you feel like there's a better way that could have been done, seek help or try to look out for possibilities or possible ways to make that better. And that is why you're in partnership with somebody else who has a different mentality from you, who has a different understanding than you. So that way you try to look out for possible ways of making sure that that is all resolved. So in all conclusion, there's 7 different steps that I want each and every man and each and every guy out there to always make sure that they have and they work so much on before getting into any relationship or any marriage. Is number 1, communication. Number 2 is quality time. Number 3 is emotional intimacy. Number 4 is shared goals. Number 5 is flexibility. And 6 is showing appreciation. And last, which is the 7th of all, is seek help. Thank you very much for listening. And I still remain your one and only senator. This is just me sharing my own opinion. I am no legal practitioner. I am no counselor. I am not anything. This is just my own opinion based on what I feel majority of men out there should pretty much work on before getting into a relationship. And thank you. Peace out.